Dividing fractions. We've looked at drawing pictures to represent our scenarios in fraction divided by whole number and whole number divided by fraction. Now we're going to focus on dividing fractions using the algorithm. So I provided an example question here. It was 2/3 divided by 4. Now how exactly do we go about dividing fractions? When we don't draw the picture, well, the first thing we need to keep the first fraction the same. So therefore, if I put my little arrow over, my 2/3 remains 2/3. My second step is I'm changing my division symbol to a multiplication. And the third and most important step is to flip the second fraction only. Now what do I mean by flip? I mean here, take your numerator. If you take your numerator and you have your denominator and you flip it, your denominator is now going to be the numerator and your numerator becomes the new denominator. Or, which is going to affect us on this one, if it's a whole number, it becomes 1 over a whole number. Let's look at why that works, because 4 you could also rewrite as 4 over 1. So when I flip it, when I make my numerator or the denominator, I rewrite it where that 4 is now on the bottom and that 1 is on the top. My final step then is to follow typical multiplication rules where we multiply straight across. 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 4 is 12, and our last step we can simplify by dividing by 2 over 2, since they're both even. We do 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So there would be my final answer for the question, 2/3 divided by 4. Let's do a couple of these together, and then I have 2 for you to try. So 3/4 divided by 5. We keep the first fraction, change to multiplication. Since 5 I can rewrite as 5 over 1, I flip it, and it's now 1 over 5. And then we multiply straight across. 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 5 is 20. Come over to our next problem. We have 7 divided by 1/4. Now in this case, this 7 isn't a fraction, but we can add that 1. It doesn't change it. So we keep the first one. You never change that first one. Make it multiplication and flip it. So 1/4 becomes 4 over 1. Multiply straight across and we get 28. Looking good so far. We have another whole number to start off, so I put my 1 there just to remind us. We have 6 over 1 stays the same. Change to multiplication and we flip our second number, which becomes 5/3, and then we multiply straight across and we get 30 over 3. And when that happens and you can simplify, that's always a great idea. 30 divided by 3 is 10. Now let's come down to our second row. We have 9/10 divided by 5. We keep the first, change to times, and we flip. Now remember, this 5 is really 5 over 1, and then we change it. When we flip it, it now becomes 1 over 5. We can multiply straight across, and we get 9 over 50. Now we keep moving here. We have our first fraction. We keep it the same, 8/9. Switch it to multiplication. And our 4 over 1 becomes 1/4. Multiply straight across, we get 8 over 36. We can simplify by doing 4 over 4, which equals 2/9. Now our next fraction here, we have 7, or 7 over 1 divided by 2/3. Go move that over a little bit. 7 over 1 we're going to keep, make it multiply, or multiplication, and we flip that second fraction. Multiply straight across and we get 21 over 2. And if you like, we can go ahead and simplify that and turn that into 10.5. So again, just to recap, we have keep the first fraction the same. Then you change your division symbol to multiplication, and most importantly, you flip the second fraction only. The numerator becomes your denominator and the denominator becomes your new numerator. If it's a whole number, that number goes on the bottom and you put a 1 on top. I did provide 2 for you to try, and you can go ahead and show me those tomorrow morning.